Get ready for your daily dose of WordPress and web development tips, tricks, and insights to help you find success with WordPress. You're listening to WP the Podcast with your hosts, David Blackman and Tim Streifler.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast, brought to you by WP Gears. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
Today in episode 643, we're going to talk about how to have effective virtual client meetings. Obviously, with everything going on globally in the world, with mandatory stay-at-home orders, coronavirus, COVID-19, depending on where you are in the world as to how they're referring to it, it's kind of changed the way that we do things. You know, Tim and I are pretty used to having virtual meetings with clients and stuff because our client base is global. We have clients all over the world. So obviously, if we have a client in Germany, Tim's in California, I'm in Oregon, we can't be in person. We've got to do virtual meetings. So it's something that's kind of normal in our wheelhouse, and we kind of take it for granted. So there's a lot of people whose lives have completely changed who have never had to do virtual client meetings who are having to do it now. So we wanted to talk about how to have effective virtual client meetings because we've got a lot of experience with it. So, Tim, why don't you get us kicked off?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the first tip we have to have an effective virtual client meeting is be in a well-lit room. No one wants to see really a dark, shadowy person on their screen, you know. And so if you're with a client, you want to present yourself really well. You want to be in a well-lit room. And so either natural light or turn the lights on, right? So if it's, you know, after hours or maybe you have a room that doesn't really have good natural light coming in, no big windows, just make sure you have some good lights on. Like that's like the easiest thing, but it's crazy how much we see people that just have poorly lit room. It's like they're in a closet or something with no lights on, and it's like you can barely see them.
I laughed because what came to mind was, unless you're in witness protection, do you not want the lights on? So I don't think you're going to be doing the witness protection thing. Secondly, let's make the lighting shine on you and not towards the camera, you know, because, you know, when you put the light towards the camera and stuff, make sure that the window is behind the camera and not in front of the camera, because it's just going to, again, lighting is very important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's another thing too, is like you'll see someone, it's like, oh, they're in a bright room. It's a very well lit room, but the window is facing the camera, and then it's like you see a silhouette and it's just too bright on the camera, and the camera can't focus on the person because the person's not lit. Like if you are the subject, right, and you want to light the subject, that's a general lighting rule. And so you want to light the subject, not the camera. So you want the light source coming from behind the camera, ideally. The next tip is use headphones to avoid echo. So, if you have your speakers turned up pretty loud, it can pick up the other person talking, and so they'll hear themselves on an echo and everything. And so just avoid the possibility of that happening and just put in some headphones. It'll make it a lot better experience for both you and the person that you're having the virtual client meeting with.
Next is try and use a microphone other than the built-in computer mic to avoid, again, the in-bathroom, we'll call it the in-the-bathroom echo effect. If you are on a Zoom call and you're with someone that is not using a mic and they're using the built-in mic into the computer, you can definitely tell the difference. I mean, it is a huge difference. And there is an echo, and it sounds just like you're in a tunnel or in a bathroom, and it can be a little bit distracting for both people and stuff. So when possible, try to use a mic. And you don't have to go out and buy a super professional mic. Even if you have headphones from your phone that plug into your computer, that microphone is going to be better than your, built-in microphone on your computer.
And then the last tip that we have is use software that your client is already familiar with, if possible, to avoid the technical difficulties getting started. So for example, we've all been in those situations where you send your client the link to join the Zoom webinar and they're like, I've never done this before. They have to download the software and then do an update and then blah, blah, blah. And once they finally get it open, now they're trying to figure out how to turn their mic on or the speakers on and select the right microphone. And it's a nightmare. And sometimes you can't avoid that if your client meeting is with someone that's not very tech savvy. And that's okay. You just have to be supportive and kind of guide them through. But if there's something that they're already familiar with and you ask them, have you ever used Zoom before? Or have you used Skype? Like, oh yeah, I Skype with my niece or my grandson or whatever and stuff. And so it's like, all right, well then don't try to get them to learn and download something new. Just use what they're already familiar with, and it'll save yourself and your client a lot of headaches.
So you want to up the quality with premium software and tools? After talking about this episode, tomorrow's episode you may want to tune into the tools you need for high-quality virtual meetings. Tim and I are going to go over what we use and what we recommend. So, Tim, until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.
We've come to the end of today's episode of WP the Podcast. Join us tomorrow for more daily tips and strategies designed to help you run your WordPress business toward success. Remember to subscribe to WP the Podcast so you can stay up to date with each episode. And don't forget to rate and review us. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on WP the Podcast.